Good evening. It's Peter Resnick from ShadowTrader.net and the Weekly Options Advisory. And today I'm going to be talking about trade setups in 3 very expensive stocks. Now, those of you who know my MO, you know that I mainly do weekly options and usually on liquid names like Fangman plus T, etc. But these names are not very optionable. They actually have options, but the options on these names are low open interest, low volume with very wide spread. So you've got to go with shares. And I think a lot of people mistakenly shy away from trading shares in these very expensive names because they think, oh, it's not worth it. I have to put on, I can only afford very, very small size. Yes, that is true. Obviously, your size is probably going to be smaller, but the moves are much bigger. You're not talking about a $10 or $20 move in some of these names. You're talking about 50 to multiple hundreds of dollars of moves. So it's really kind of the same thing, and it can add up to some nice gains if you can hold. So the first one on my radar here is CMG. They had a huge gap up recently on a major increase in volume here, and the stock hasn't really come down. And this is one of those names where I would call it like a short-term short, but a longer-term long. So when I say short-term short, I mean it's probably going to come down a little lower, fill this gap. But right in here at the prior highs around 28, 25-ish, I'm going to be looking for a long. And if not there, or maybe there, one tranche, and then a second piece here at the 21. Because usually these types of gap ups, they don't fail, meaning that they're not going to come down and like break through this range and come down low. All it's doing is just taking some of the froth off, and there's going to be buyers stepping in here at key levels. So watch for that in Chipotle, aka CMG. The next one I want to talk about is AutoZone, which to me is a short. And it may not look like a short here on this daily chart. This is certainly the type of pattern that I would never short on the daily. It's nice and clean. It's got the 821 stacked up really nice. It's basically just a long for hold. But if you switch out to a weekly chart, you can see very clearly why I think that this is pretty much setting up as a short very, very soon. And I'll just put it out to longer time frames so you see it. See here on the 4-year, look how perfectly the channel sets up here. It anchors here. Look at these 2 touches, how perfect they are. That tells me that when it touches the channel again, it's going to probably be a short. And that is here up at the 3,400 level, right in here. It's just under 3,400. And again, going back to what I was saying about smaller size, bigger moves, when this stock retraces, look at this. This is like 2,800 down to 2,300. This is 500 points right here. I mean, just coming back in to the rising 8 EMA on the weekly from 34, this is 2983, call it 3,000. This is about 400 points down into here. So you're going to be looking for a move here that's at least 100, 200, or maybe even 300 to 400 points coming down to those support levels. All right. And last but not least is Mercado Libre. All right. This is a name that everybody should be familiar with. The stock is really highly rated. They do really well. IBD likes this company. And on the weekly chart, it's setting up, but you really see the daily, you really see the setup more clearly on the daily. But even just on the weekly, you can see you came in here, nice weekly bar, catching its footing here after a little undercut. But again, going out to the daily, or I should say kind of zooming into the daily, is really where it shows why I think this is a long setup right now. Look at the, I'll just make this a bit smaller here, go 2 years. Look at the move down here on an increase in volume, right? See this move right here? This is an increase in volume on the move down. And then notice that it completely undercuts that level and fails. It parks itself right there at those lows. It can't go lower the next day. And here's the key. Look at the undercut failure right here. That's the failure right there. And then since it fails, what does it do? It just floats up higher gently to where? Right to where it had this prior resistance on the chart. So to me, this is pretty obvious that this 1600 level right in here, that's a long trigger. And again, you're looking for a big move, at least, there's 50 points, 100 points, etc., moving on up, even potentially up into these prior highs. All right. Be careful with these. Make sure you know where your stop is. And again, as I was saying, keep your size manageable. Hey, this is Peter from ShadowTrader.net, and I just wanted to thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed this content, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. And if you'd like to trade live with me every day in my weekly options advisory, then check out the link in the description below. I wish you good trading, and I'll see you in the room.